Oh, yeah. Welcome to the show. It is Ringside Report. I'm Dave. AJ's here.
Woohoo!
Freddie is here. Fred Garcia. AJ DeLezio. We are here. We're on YouTube every Thursday night, 8 p.m. We're on TSN 690 every Friday night on the radio. We're talking MMA. We got a lot of MMA to get to. Listen to the show. Go to our website, www.ringsidereport.net. Big show we have for you tonight. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course.
Promote it, Dave. Promote it.
As always, go to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, and click the bell. Right, AJ?
Click that bell.
You got to click the bell.
Like the dog does. Click that bell.
If you don't click the bell, you're really missing out because the bell gives you the notifications every time we have new content. And there's always new content. We were having fun. We had a nice poker game on Saturday night. We had the UFC 244 watch-along live on YouTube. I'm sure a lot of you tuned in to watch the watch-along, which got a little crazy. It got a little crazy.
Not a little crazy. It got really crazy.
Yeah. It was a little wild, but it was a good time. We had a good time, and you can watch it on the YouTube channel. We watched UFC 244, and we reacted to it live. But tonight, I want to talk a little bit more about UFC 244 and everything that happened. We've had some time to digest. We can talk about Jorge Masvidal and what he's talking about and what Nate is talking about as well. Nate Diaz, of course, who came out on the losing end of that fight.
Sort of losing it.
Well, he lost the fight, right? AJ, what do you mean, sort of?
Sort of. I mean, look.
Classic AJ, here we go.
No. Hear me out here.
Let's start with this right away. Go.
Look, he lost, for sure. He lost.
Yes.
But he really won for the title. If you want to say BMF, he was a real BMF. He came out, he took a beating like a champ. He lost all 3 rounds, but you know what? He won the crowd. Everybody.
See,
AJ,
here's the difference between you and me.
What?
You respect the guy who got shot. I respect the shooter. Okay?
What do you think this is, a JFK moment?
Give it to Jorge Masvidal. That's a Jay-Z quote.
Is it Jay-Z?
Yeah.
AJ's being constant. He always gives credit to the guy that shows heart, that's willing to die in the cage. But look, in the end, Masvidal won all 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Every judge that's how the judges had the scorecard at that point. So, to me, it was a clear win for Masvidal, and I was surprised. I thought, I predicted Nate Diaz was going to win. I thought Nate was the better boxer, and no, Masvidal took it to him standing up, wasn't scared, walked him down, threw some big punches.
Diaz did throw out. I mean, if you look at the overall strikes thrown, you look at Masvidal, he threw 297 strikes. As of Diaz, threw 289. I mean, when you look at total strikes thrown, they were close. But the significant strikes, this is where it changes.
Landed. Yeah,
we're looking at 177 by Masvidal and 68 by Diaz, which I was kind of surprised. But the only thing I'm going to say is on the 3rd round, we started to see Diaz shine. I think his game plan was to go to the latter rounds and open up. Might have been a mistake.
Maybe.
Masvidal definitely is the true BMF.
And that's what I'm saying here. You know, Masvidal is the number 1 guy. Not the number 1 guy in the division, but he won the fight. You know, he won by cut TKO in the 3rd round. Don't worry about what's going on here, AJ. AJ's always distracted by stuff going on in the studio.
It's all those colors and lights,
Stay focused on me, AJ.
Okay, go. Let me look in your eyes, Dave. Let me look in your eyes.
Look deep into my eyes, brother. Okay?
Look at the camera, actually.
Look at
the camera, please,
right
AJ.
over here.
So what happened was Diaz lost the fight. You know, he got beat up quite badly, and in the end, it was Jorge Masvidal who came out TKO due to a cut after 3 rounds. And it was disappointing because we didn't see a clear finish to the fight. When a doctor steps in and asks Nate Diaz if he's all right to continue, Nate says yes. The doctor says no, tells the referee to stop the fight. That's not really the type of finish we want in a big Madison Square Garden fight for the title of bad mother effer, right? This is supposed to be for the bad mother effer, and it ends with Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz losing due to a cut, which is not a conclusive finish. Like, if Nate Diaz is going to lose by TKO, I want him to get beat up so badly that the referee has to intervene. I want Nate Diaz to get punched in the face, knocked unconscious. I want Jorge Masvidal to get knocked unconscious. I want a submission. I want a decisive finish, or I want it to go all 5 rounds and let the judges decide at that point. I don't want the referee, the doctor, to step in and deprive us of 2 rounds.
Of gore?
Well, I think Nate was all right to fight.
Like I think you're a little sadistic here, like asking for that finish. No. You're asking for the kill shot, basically.
I'm only asking for what Nate Diaz wanted and what Nate Diaz deserved, which was a finish to that fight.
But there's a reason doctors are there.
Of course there's a reason doctors are there, but I'm saying that if it was a different doctor in a different state, if it wasn't the state of New York,
Vegas.
like if it was the state of Nevada, I think that fight goes 5 rounds and we see a clear, decisive finish. I don't think we got the full fight, and I think there's something to what AJ's saying about them going to a 4th or 5th round. I think that there could have been an opportunity for Nate Diaz to have more success later on in the fight. He's got tremendous cardio, but we didn't get to see it. I think Jorge Masvidal wins that fight no matter what. He's beaten Nate Diaz. If he fights him again, he'll beat him. Masvidal wins. But I don't think we got to see the whole fight that we deserved to see, and Nate Diaz wanted to continue, and after the fight he was talking, he wanted to continue. The fight should have continued, Fred.
You're repeating the
fight should have continued, Fred.
Okay.
I'm hammering it home because you disagree with me.
You didn't get the gore finish that you needed to feel satisfied.
That's right.
And I'll give you another example. UFC 94, BJ Penn, George St. Pierre. BJ Penn doesn't decide to get up from the bench, and George St. Pierre wins. And I remember a lot of people felt the same way, going like, "Oh, we want," and it's not
different.
quite. It's
totally
a different, but still, people were feeling like, "Oh, we didn't get that finish from George again. It's another fight that goes." And I feel like, look, if you're gonna beat up the guy to a point where a doctor or himself won't get up, like. He won. What do you want more? Like, Masvidal won.
Look. Masvidal definitely won, and I think that if it goes to the 4th and 5th round, Masvidal does more damage. Maybe doesn't finish him, but probably beats him by decision, right? I think that it was headed in that direction. But we didn't get to see it, and I don't like when a doctor steps in and does it. And the BJ Penn thing is totally different because BJ decided not to keep fighting.
No, but I mean, you're mad because you didn't get that finish. And I remember people were mad for that fight not going like to a finish. Like, yeah, George was dominating and everything, but you're not like some people. I feel what you need is that gore, like basically that image of. This is defeat. Nope. This is how it ends.
Nope, that's not what I said. I would have been happy with a decision finish. Like I just want them to continue fighting. I want to see the fighters decide the fight in the time given to them. They had 25 minutes. I want to see them decide the fight.
I got my hand up.
What do you want,
Listen
AJ?
To this. Look, for 3 rounds, okay, it delivered, man. The fight delivered in 3 rounds. Yeah. It was awesome. It delivered what it's supposed to be as a BMF title. No one can dispute that. These guys threw out so many strikes in 3 rounds. It was unbelievable.
Everybody wanted more, though.
I wanted more. You wanted more. But the truth of the matter is,
wanted more.
If it was just a 3-round fight as opposed to five rounds, people would say this was an awesome title fight. But the thing is that in 3 rounds it delivered. The truth is that the doctor did step in. I saw some footage of like the eye cut. It was gruesome.
It was bad.
I mean, the doctor did the right thing in the sense because most people don't see it. We see it from a certain perspective. I saw it from another perspective where you literally could almost see into his eye. So the thing is that if you go into the 4th round, Masvidal is not going to be nice on him and just give him body shots. He's going to go for that face, and what's going to happen is the guy might go blind. It could happen.
Oh,
you got 2 more rounds.
You're not a doctor. What are you talking about?
It looked bad. I saw that video footage. It looked horrible.
Disclaimer: AJ not a doctor.
I don't know about the blind spot part, but I agree that it was bad. Dana White also agreed. Like I'm feeling Dave is being a little like harsh here right now because the fight was great.
I'm doing what
the fight was great and we had a clear finish.
I'm doing what I always do. I'm doing what I always do on this show, and
You
I'm
want blood and
siding
gore.
with the athlete themselves and
But
what
we had
the
a clear
athlete
winner.
wanted.
Yeah,
George
exactly.
Masvidal and Nate Diaz both wanted to continue fighting. They both wanted that fight to keep going. I'm just going with what they wanted to do, and I don't think that anything really happens other than that cut gets a little worse and a little
Worse? It was
wider
horrible. It was
on
ready
Nate
to come
Diaz.
off.
It was bad, but he could still see his eye wasn't going to fall out. Nothing
Yeah,
bad
I
was
don't
going to
know about
happen
that.
to Nate Diaz. You guys aren't doctors. What are you talking about?
Oh,
And
I
neither
mean,
are you.
And Dana
Like,
White
if you're
said-
gonna accuse
Listen, I
us
did a
of not
first
being
aid
a
course.
doctor, like you're the one that's willing to send a guy to maybe lose his eye. You're
The
like,
UFC doctor said, I didn't stop the fight, Nate. You know, like the UFC doctor himself who stitched Nate up backstage was like, I don't know about that stoppage. Okay, I'm
but-
going with another doctor who seemed.
Who is it, Dr. Seuss?
Nate Diaz posted a picture with him, and the doctor's like, oh, you know, Nate, I didn't stop that fight. Like, you know,
Yeah,
I
but
don't think that
whoa,
fight
whoa,
should have
whoa,
been
whoa,
stopped,
whoa.
and the UFC
Hold the
doctor was
cheval there.
siding with Nate.
Well, let me put up my hand on this one. Listen, you know what? The doctor can say whatever he wants. You know what? He can say that baloney because he's off. The fight is over. He's behind the scene. He's like taking pictures as a paparazzi. The truth is that if he was in the ring, he probably would have called the stop.
You don't know.
can we
You know
agree that
what?
we have a clear winner?
Yeah.
So what are we arguing about? Like 10 more minutes?
Would you like to see this fight again?
I mean, come on. We have a clue. No, I don't want to see it
I
again.
want to see it again.
No, it was
They
a
wanna
clear
see it again.
winner.
No, for sure. There's no way Diaz could have won this fight. He couldn't win. Even if he won the 4th and 5th round, he would have lost it by this.
Masvidal wasn't slowing
Okay,
down.
I think you're
wasn't
right,
slowing
Fred.
down.
Fred is right. We don't have to talk about the stoppage
Why not?
anymore. We can disagree. We can agree to disagree.
But
We're
you know
not
what
going to
disagrees?
convince each other. And you know what? It's over. And Fred is right. We had a clear winner. No matter what you think about the stoppage, I think Masvidal won that fight, was going to win that fight no matter what. And there it is. And now we got to talk about what's next. So we got to go into the
I was
future.
gonna say something.
What?
Somebody called them both out. Somebody from the past that says, you know what? They're not real BMFers.
Ken Shamrock?
Exactly. Ken Shamrock goes, you know what?
He's got
They're
a
wearing
point.
4-ounce gloves. They fight once, one time in a night, one time in a year possibly, and they're not the real BMFs. I kind of agree with him in some sense back in the days where they
Yeah.
went like, you know, round robins and they did all
I
that
just
kind of
think
stuff.
the whole
and-
BMF thing is a little stupid and we're putting too much into
Really?
it.
I think it's
I
great.
mean,
I think
well,
it's
I
brought
mean,
in a
is
lot
it-
of viewership.
It's basically
Listen,
like folklore, or like it's basically
Listen,
an image
no,
where
no,
we're
no,
going.
no.
We're
Freddie,
trying to sell.
Dave, can I
like,
say something
Could
here?
we just agree that
Wait.
everybody in the UFC
Is
is
a
a
BMF?
BMF?
Yeah.
Like, you know
Well,
what I
to
mean?
some extent,
like
some
man
are
or
more than
woman,
others.
if you fight professionally in a cage, you're pretty badass person. You
Oh,
know,
yeah, for
respect
sure.
to you. you
But
know?
but listen to this. The BMF was,
right, like it's a pretty
Fred-
tough profession.
Freddie, I'm sort of going to disagree with you on this. Is that the BMF title brought out so much eyes to this fight that it took over the Canelo fight. So it surpassed Canelo fights in pay-per-view. So there's something to be said about this. It wasn't even like it's a fictitious
so without
title. in a
without the
sense.
title, it's not bigger than the Canelo fight.
was
if
probably-
it's just Nate against Jorge. I'm
No,
asking.
if it
It's
was-
a
if-
legit question.
I think no, legitimately, I think it would have surpassed the Canelo fight again.
You know that
in
they
some
played
sense.
they played the fight before the Canelo fight in the arena.
and they were
Like
flipping
the
out.
Canelo Alvarez had a boxing
Sure.
match, and they were waiting for the Nate Diaz Masvidal fight to end in New York to have the boxing match in Las Vegas, and the crowd was getting restless, so they made a call to Dana White and asked if they could play the Diaz Masvidal fight at the, I think it was MGM Grand or the
Yep.
Mandalay. It was MGM Grand. I don't know, one of those casinos in Vegas. And, you know, Dana let them, and then they played the fight, the Masvidal, like live on the screen before the Canelo Alvarez boxing match, which is pretty cool. I just want to give you guys a little quote here from Mystic Mac, Conor McGregor.
Oh,
of course,
Conor!
he had a vested interest in this fight, and here is what Conor said about the fight. And I agree with Conor once again. Excellent job, Greg. Robbed of a classic there we were.
What?
Greg, he's talking about the UFC doctor, Dr. Greg Sue, says, I got you, I appreciate you, with Nate Diaz there. And Conor, replying to that tweet by the UFC doctor, says, excellent job, Greg. Robbed of a classic there we were. Cut men in the corner must be more assertive when a fighter must stay still. So he's saying that Nate wasn't staying still during the between rounds 1 and 2. So he's saying between rounds 1 and 2, A crucial moment of repair was missed due to movement. Either way, solid fighting and on to the next. Whatever that means.
Mystic.
So that's Conor McGregor, Mystic Mac. The notorious Conor McGregor says we were robbed of a classic, so I don't think he liked the stoppage. And he also didn't like the job of the cut men doing it on Nate Diaz.
Probably a stressful job. I mean, you got like a minute, not even.
You got a minute to close a cut.
Yeah.
And then you know that cut is about to get punched a few seconds later.
I didn't go back and watch, so I can't really judge. But look, it was a bad cut. Unfortunate, that's the ending. But Masvidal, great win. I don't know what's next for him. One last thing on that Canelo-Masvidal thing. Huge difference in paychecks. Like Canelo brought in $35 million and Masvidal got $500,000.
And Masvidal is well aware of that because now he's saying he wants to box Canelo Alvarez. He's done a couple interviews talking about it. He's kind of testing the waters to see maybe if he could get this fight with Canelo Alvarez. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a great idea.
Sure it does. For sure it is. Just take a look at who he's trying to emulate in a sense. McGregor.
Well, yeah.
McGregor Mayweather.
Yeah, and it was awful the last couple of years.
Listen, it didn't go so well.
You know what? Masvidal is gonna ride the train like McGregor did. And you know what? This can actually happen. In fact, this whole week has been nothing but boxing and MMA. Tyson Fury wanting to come into MMA. Masvidal wanting to fight Canelo. I mean, there's all kinds of craziness. But if anybody could do it, Masvidal can do it. And you know what? Canelo would actually want to fight like that because the numbers would be there and it would be a win-win for either guy, man. McGregor proved it.
What weight does Canelo fight at?
165, I think, something around there.
So they're roughly the same size. Canelo's listed at 5'9". How big's Masvidal? How tall is Jorge Masvidal? He seemed tall next to Nate, right? I have him listed here at 5'11". So he's got a 5'11", a couple inches on Canelo. A little bit of weight too, right? A little bit bigger.
Look, I went after the UFC. I went home and I got at home in time to watch the Canelo fight. Great fight, great knockout. Thing is, I'm an MMA fan. I don't want Masvidal to go waste a year and a half of his career into boxing. Don't give me, you're saying, oh yeah, another McGregor, and yeah, it would be great money for Masvidal. As a fan, I don't need to see it. I know the result. I know Canelo's he's one of the best boxers in the world today. Masvidal would lose. I'm sorry.
But as a fan, any combat fan other than the UFC or boxing, just like a combat fan will want to see that, and that's what brings in the numbers, and that proved it with McGregor when he walked away with a paycheck at the end. I think he's over $300 million. I think it works. And you know what? And Mayweather
it works
was
for
close to
money,
$1 billion.
but as far as spectacle, I don't need to see it.
But you know what?
Yeah, I don't need to see it either. But is Canelo really desperate for opponents?
That, and first of all, and another thing is, McGregor Mayweather, they sold that on trash. I'm sorry. It was giving us pure, low level insult.
Yeah, but it was an opportunity to make money for Mayweather.
But that's not how Masvidal and Canelo would go at it. First of all, Canelo's English is not great, so the promotion, it wouldn't be as big as Mayweather. And I don't need to see it. Canelo's the better boxer, of course. He's one of the best boxers in the world, and Masvidal's not a professional boxer. He's a professional MMA fighter.
Yeah, I don't think it makes any kind of sense. I don't know why Masvidal's talking about it. I think it's just kind of seeing maybe he can capitalize on his popularity and make some big money. I think that's really what it is.
He needs to focus on what could be a big fight for him in MMA. Who are the potential opponents that Masvidal could face and have a good payday right now?
Well, McGregor for sure.
Honestly, what makes the most sense would be the winner of Usman and Covington. I think the title is next. He's talking about titles. He says he's going to rack up championships. He's got one belt. He's trying to get more. I think the title fight is next, the welterweight title fight. I think he deserves a shot right now at whoever wins between Covington and Usman. And I think either fight is a good fight, but a very tough fight for Masvidal.
Championship makes sense because he's never been as hot as he is right now. People want to see him. Put him in a championship fight, win or lose, he's still going to be a star after that. If he wins, he'll be even bigger star. He'll be huge. But that Nate Diaz rematch that some people wanted, that could always happen down the road. Like that Masvidal Diaz 2 could happen when both guys are like 38, 39. We don't need to see that right now.
Well, yeah, I don't think we're going to see it right now, right? Nate was saying that, it doesn't really make sense for Masvidal to be happy with the win. Like, what kind of win is that? Like, if you saw Nate at the post-fight press conference, he was really like, just, why wouldn't we do a rematch?
You mean that Diaz doesn't accept his loss?
No.
That is so new.
He was not accepting the loss as well, and he was
but the numbers prove it, right?
He was saying how, they should do a rematch, and how he always gave a rematch. Like, he gave a rematch to Conor, and he's always down for a rematch, but for some reason people don't want to give him a rematch, and he doesn't know, but he figures that they probably won't give him a rematch because Dana was saying he wasn't interested in doing it. So if Dana White says he's not interested in doing it, it's probably not going to happen. And now, this was after the fight that Nate was like, yeah, rematch, that makes sense, or some other big fight. I don't know what else. But now Nate comes out on Instagram.
What's he say?
And posts the following. F a rematch. This stuff was over before it started. I'm going out on tour. Peace out, fight game.
Okay, what does that mean
exactly?
exactly?
Peace out, fight game. That means he's going out on tour with his brother Nick. I mean,
what,
you see
on a smoke show?
You see the picture. He's smoking a big joint here, Nate. That
There's
might be a blunt. That might be a blunt.
Jamaican
I don't know.
blunt.
It's a black and white photo, and his brother Nick is in the background. So if you follow Nick on Instagram, you know that Nick's always partying. So Nate is going to join the party. Nate is going out on tour.
Party.
He's going to go do seminars and party in different cities and just kind of do his thing, teach jiu-jitsu.
I can almost smell
and
it
have
from
fun.
here.
I mean, he's made a lot of money in MMA. He's made a lot of money off this fight. So he's done.
Look.
They're not going to give him what he wants, and this is the unfortunate deal with Nate Diaz. He comes and he goes. I think we're lucky that we got 2 fights this time out of Nate.
True.
Like, he fought McGregor twice. He disappeared for 3 years. He came back, resurfaced, fought Anthony Pettis for some reason, and then after that, he's like, yeah, I'm going to fight Jorge Masvidal in like 8 weeks. And it was like, okay, cool, Nate, whatever you say.
And it was like in the beginning, it wasn't even sure he was going to make it.
Yeah.
There was that whole controversy.
And then, he pulled out of the fight, and then he didn't pull out of the fight. It was really weird. Like a couple weeks ago, Nate was out of the fight. Then a week ago, he was back in, and then
every time he fights, though, he makes people want to see him.
Yeah.
So, know, right now, a little break is maybe what he needs. Like, go away for 8-10 months.
And then get Diaz.
Make people forget about this loss.
I'm still more interested in Nate's next fight than Masvidal's next fight.
No, I'm not.
He's got a point.
That's not
He's got
fair.
a point.
Everybody
needs a little Diaz.
Nate, baby,
Yeah.
the Nate Diaz show is more fun than anything Masvidal does. I like Masvidal and all. He's cool. He's a great fighter. You know, he won the fight. Respect to him. But Nate Diaz got that other flavor.
Well, I mean, he's a character.
He's
for
Nate
sure.
Diaz, baby.
But did you see the
Nate
comments
Diaz
online?
Army, you know, like he's got the whole
Yeah,
thing. Come on, man.
he's got a following, man. He's got a cult following. But the truth is that
He's
if you look
cool.
on like all the social feeds and whatnot, there were so many people that were disappointed that Diaz lost. Like he has a huge.
But it's
following.
about supply and demand. Like
Right.
right now, the demand for Nate Diaz, it's pretty high. But if he takes a couple of months off, people are gonna forget about this loss, and they're gonna want
It's
more
not a
Nate
real
Diaz.
loss. Like I was saying, he fought well. Diaz fought well. Come
I
on,
demand
guys.
Nick Diaz.
So give me
Nick.
I
Yeah.
want to see Nick
That
Diaz
won't
fight
happen.
again, please.
But what could be a big matchup for Nate right now? Because that's the thing also. If Nate is going to, Nate doesn't want to come back for a small paycheck. All the last fights have probably been very good paychecks, including the Pettis one, I would say, because that was his
man.
comeback fight.
You know what the fight is for Nate?
What, McGregor?
Of course.
Well, for
Yeah.
right now, McGregor needs to fight somebody else. maybe.
McGregor's not going to fight Diaz next. That's for sure.
Exactly.
I don't see it happening.
So Diaz could take
McGregor's fighting Cerrone in January, baby.
exactly. So
It's happening.
So Diaz,
It's happening. Get ready.
8 months off.
You don't think it's happening? Bet. It's
I already got to
happening.
owe you bagels.
Look,
I don't want to take this.
You
back.
already owe me bagels.
Where are the
No.
bagels,
Well, I
man?
didn't
Where are
bring
my
it. I didn't have a
dozen
chance. I had to
bagels?
take care of my sister. It was a whole story. Long story short.
I want a bagel.
Look, I think McGregor's going to be fighting Donald Cerrone in January, and that I think is like a
That
done
makes
deal.
sense.
You think?
Yeah.
That's what I've read also,
Yo,
that it's very close.
Next week, we're probably gonna be here talking about it.
Well,
and it'll be official.
Look, Conor is in like hot water. I sent you like a message this morning. Did you guys get it on the Ringside Report chat box?
Careful.
No. I'm going there. He's
Careful.
got a lot of trouble with Dagestan.
Why?
Conor in Moscow. Dagestan.
I thought you were going to talk about the sexual assault allegations.
What sexual assault again? What is he? Like Jon Jones? Oh, no, sorry.
Boy.
Who is he? Are you joking? I'm talking about Dagestan. That's more important. He insulted the Dagestani people. He insulted and you know, did you see the video of like over 100 people surrounding his hotel? They were trying to break in.
Oh, they were mad.
They were upset.
He went to Russia and he started talking smack about the Dagestani people, and he went really far. And I think he upset some people.
No, he didn't just upset. He's got like a whole like country that's after him. If I was Conor, I'd probably leave Moscow. I know he's there now.
I think he's gone.
Yeah, he has to go because listen,
gone.
I saw a video of people like setting up like in the lobby saying, okay, we're gonna wait for Conor to come down and we're gonna take him down. Outside of the hotel, there was over 100 Dagestanis completely insulted. I mean, Conor probably took it a little too far there because you're insulting these people. I mean,
I saw
Khabib's dad came out and says like, you're insulting my brothers, my country, my family, and everybody, and he's pissed off the whole country.
Yeah,
Conor is really put a no. But
you're very excited about this.
I am because you know
why.
what? Like I wear my Khabib hat, and I'm like, Conor, man. Let's not get to this where it becomes like a Netflix movie one day.
So Khabib is a little sensitive.
Not Khabib, but like
Khabib's daddy.
No, the Dagestani people. He insulted them. It's going to be a war, man.
Well, that's not true. There's not going to be a war. I don't think you understand what a war is.
But if we stick to MMA, what Dave said is what people are predicting is that Conor's going to fight Cerrone in January.
Not Khabib.
Which Conor, I said.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not going to fight Khabib.
Which is probably the best fight right now, I think, for Conor, because the options, if we look at the different options, Cerrone, Gaethje, just destroyed Cerrone. So, if anything, Cerrone should be an easier fight. Habib's much tougher than Cerrone.
Khabib's fighting Tony Ferguson in March. That's pretty much a done deal.
We'll see if that happens.
So Cerrone against Conor makes a lot of sense, but I'm still scared because, like, visually, to me, Cerrone's a little bigger than Conor.
He's a big guy.
Conor's got really good power in his hands.
But Cerrone has the size to be able to absorb it, I feel. But we'll see.
Look, I saw Cerrone next to Pat Cote, and I was so surprised that Cerrone was that much bigger. And Pat Cote wasn't a small guy. That's what I'm saying. You're right. Cerrone, man, he's like, you can't really measure this guy. You really think he's not that big, but when you see him, he's a big guy. Conor looks jacked.
Cerrone by submission. I said it.
I don't know about submission.
Conor by knockout.
Yeah, I think. Look, Cerrone's really had like an up and down. He's fought the most fights than any other fighter.
He loses all the big ones.
He loses the big ones, but Cerrone comes out to fight.
I love him,
it's
but
going to be a war.
A lot of the big fights he loses. I love Donald Cerrone as a fighter.
But he's not fighting a chump, Dave. He's fighting Conor McGregor.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's going to lose. I got McGregor.
I got McGregor on this too. I don't think he's going to go by submission, Fred, on this one. And Conor looked jacked. Did you see him in his training camp?
Yeah.
Have you seen him in like the hotel? Like, he looks jacked.
He's big and strong.
Somebody's got to test him.
So,
hashtag.
So that fight, not official yet, right? But I need to ask you a big question.
Tell me. Uh-oh.
Where are my bagels? You owe me a dozen bagels.
I know, man.
I told everybody that Corey Anderson was going to beat what's his name? Johnny Walker.
Johnny Drinkable Walker.
Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker.
No Johnny Walker
face.
For you.
No more. So, I told you that Johnny Walker was going to lose to Corey Anderson, and Fred didn't believe me either, which I'm surprised. Usually it's me and Fred against you, AJ, but it was me against the whole crew here, and I was on it for like several weeks, like a few months. I was telling you, like, as soon as this fight was announced, I was like, yep, Corey Anderson, he's going to beat Johnny Walker. You didn't believe me, and he beat him in the first round.
Look. How do I start this, Fred? Do you want to take it from here, or
you
should
can't
I be like,
handle it?
I can't handle it.
No, you need to answer.
Well, like I said last time,
and we bet a dozen bagel. We bet a dozen bagel.
I never bet with Dave because, like I said during the watch along, I feel like me and you, we're not quite in the same boat. I picked Johnny Walker to win, and I was wrong. Like, it happens. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But AJ, he's the one that's saying like Johnny Walker will beat Jon Jones one day. I've never.
Well, I was saying,
you will never find tape
train.
of me saying that.
Yeah, you were saying he was the future of the UFC, and I told you that Corey Anderson was going to stomp him out.
But listen, I'm not the only one. Every MMA show out there was saying the same thing. Mind you, they heard it from me first because we were talking about Johnny Walker
on
here.
This show.
You know, on
Well,
this show,
we did talk about Johnny Walker
Way
first
before
because we thought
anybody
his
knew
name was
about him.
funny. We were
Yeah.
joking around about his name, and then he knocked a guy out, and we're like, oh, this guy Johnny Walker's actually pretty good.
look.
And then he went on a little run. But then I told you, man, Corey Anderson's for real, and
Look.
Johnny Walker's not on his level.
No, he is. And the thing is, what it comes down to is,
How do you figure he is?
listen, it just was.
he
listen,
got
everybody-
knocked out in 2 minutes.
Listen, it wasn't the typical Johnny Walker that we usually see in this fight. And I said it
Yeah,
to Freddie.
usually he wins.
No, usually he wins, but usually he's a lot more aggressive. He's right out of the cage. He's already starting to attack you. He was being really defensive. He was like trying to study like Anderson. I don't know what he was doing, but he was not releasing any kicks, any punches, anything at all, and even like putting him up against the cage. He gave Anderson a lot of space. Anderson is not like known for his striking skills, but in this fight he looked like an awesome like boxer.
Yeah.
Great combinations. Something was off on Johnny Walker. This wasn't his night. You know, like I said, like I think the when he got hurt by
How
doing
old
like
is Johnny
the
Walker?
superworm, he's 30.
Oh, he's up
4
there
years
still.
old. He's about 30
Johnny
years old.
Walker's that old? You sure?
Or is he?
He's 27,
27.
AJ.
But
What are
he's
you
still-
talking about?
he's still
whatever.
27.
So
It's
he has
in the-
lots of time.
Right. So Johnny Walker loses the fight. Corey Anderson gets a big victory. Jon
But-
Jones now saying that he has studied the tape of Johnny Walker, and he studied the tape of Dominick Reyes, and he has decided, him and his team have decided that Johnny Reyes is more dangerous, and they're going to fight him.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense right now. If you look at the two fights and you have to compare them, Dominick Reyes is a beast. He's a monster. He's coming out and he wants to beat Jones, and he's capable of beating Jones. Johnny Walker didn't have a great fight, but if you looked at all his prior fights, you would say that this guy could have been competitive to Jon Jones, but it just wasn't a good fight. Let's see. Look, Johnny Walker is still gonna be there in 2 years
Why
from
are you
now.
still talking about Johnny Walker?
Can I
So-
just
He'll
say
be back.
something?
So there's a direct quote there from Jon Jones.
What does he say?
Just finished a coach's meeting studying Dominick and Corey's careers. Established Dominick's definitely the more dangerous fighter, beating his ass next. Lion head emoji.
Can I just call out AJ first of all?
Please do.
Because like you had Johnny Walker as the next coming, you know, the next guy to face Jon Jones. So you would think the guy that defeated the next champion in your mind should be the guy getting the title shot.
You're saying Anderson here?
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm surprised I'm saying Reyes because I'm going with what he's worked, like his body of work. I never considered Johnny Walker to be the next coming of Jesus like you did. So now with Corey Anderson defeating Johnny Walker, like you should be going for Corey getting the title shot.
No, look.
Corey is king.
No, look. Corey got beaten.
Give
he got
Corey
beat by
the title
Shogun Rua.
shot.
Let's not forget this. He got beat by Shogun Rua. So let's.
A long time ago.
But you know what I'm saying? A long time ago is a Shogun.
A lot
much
of guys
better
got
fighter,
beat
Rua.
by Shogun.
Listen,
Shogun's
what it comes
great.
down to is I thought the fight would be Johnny Walker against Dominick Reyes, and the winner of that would fight Jon Jones. Look, I don't think Anderson has what it takes to beat Dominick Reyes. Look, it's going to be a Dominick Reyes fight against Jon Jones for sure.
I want to see Dominick Reyes fight Corey Anderson. I want to see Jon Jones fight Israel Adesanya.
That could be good.
And then we figure it out after that. I don't want to see Dominick Reyes fight Jon Jones. I don't really care enough about Dominick Reyes.
Why
he
not?
beats
Yeah.
Chris Weidman. He gets a title shot. I think what Corey Anderson did was more impressive, beating Johnny Walker, who was like on a big win streak, knocking everybody out. I'd give Corey Anderson the title shot. Is this official? Like, this is just what Jon Jones has decided with his coaches. I don't know if the UFC's decided this, but Dana White seems to hate Corey Anderson, so I think they'll probably give the fight to Dominick Reyes. If you saw Dana White's comments about Corey Anderson, like, Corey's mad. He feels like he's getting disrespected, and he was like all angry during fight week, and then he knocked out Johnny Walker, but Dana's like, look, if this guy's got a problem, he can leave. Dana doesn't seem to even want him in the UFC because he gets the feeling that Corey doesn't want to be in the UFC. But I think Corey just wants to get big fights and be respected as a top light heavyweight and maybe get the title fight here after beating Johnny Walker. I think he should get the title fight, but it's not
If we look
happening,
at history,
I guess it's not. I think they'll probably give it to Reyes, right?
I think it's either Reyes or maybe like I would think Adesanya fight would be the fight to
They're
make,
not
but
doing
yeah,
that, though.
it's
They're
Reyes.
doing Adesanya, the middleweight champion of the UFC. As Adesanya is going to fight Yoel Romero next. He was supposed to fight
But even that,
Paulo Costa, but then Costa got hurt, and now it's Yoel Romero, who hasn't won a fight in like 2 years.
But even that fight, I'm reading, it's not still like official. They're like
Really?
They're discussing it.
Yeah, they're discussing it.
Yeah,
Well, let's do the Jon Jones fight then, people. What are we waiting for? Like, I don't want to see Yoel Romero fight Israel Adesanya. Yoel Romero hasn't won a fight since February 2018. It's almost 2 years since the last win, and he beat Luke Rockhold. Like, Luke Rockhold hasn't been relevant in several years.
No,
you know,
retired.
Yeah, he's retired now. So, like, come on now.
Why is
Yoel Romero getting a title shot here? Just because we have no other options because Paulo Costa got hurt. I say let's do something big. There's no real strong opponent for Jon Jones. Jones and Adesanya have been trash-talking each other, talking about a fight. Let's do it. What are we waiting for? Israel Adesanya moves up to 205 pounds, fights Jon Jones for the light heavyweight championship. Let's go. Let's have some big fights and put Dominick Reyes versus Corey Anderson
now that's
in the co-main event.
Exactly.
That's
Dave.
an idea.
100%. And you know what?
And then the winners fight each other. How easy is this?
That is fantastic. And in fact, that's what I was going to say, but you took the words out of my mouth. That would be the best co-main event fight with Jon Jones as the main card. That would be awesome. The eyes would be on this.
Unfortunately, this isn't as easy as like pro wrestling where you could just say, let's do this, this, and this, and then there's one guy who just tells the people to do it.
Dave,
you still have to get all these fighters to agree and sign bout agreements and negotiate. It's not as easy as call this guy, put them together, and they fight.
No, but they have been making more, I would say, fights that wouldn't happen like, say, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Like Masvidal and Diaz.
Like Masvidal and Diaz. And that's the thing. They're coming up with the BMF titles. They're going a little bit more creative. So a lot of fights that we said that wouldn't happen actually did happen. And you know what? I think the best fight for everyone, UFC fans, MMA fans, would be that card right there. If that would happen, then a lot more hype would be between the winner between Corey Anderson and Dominick Reyes to see Jon Jones fight.
So let's do it. Let's do it, UFC. Come on, Dana
That's
White.
if he doesn't lose to Israel.
That's what we want for Christmas, Dana. It's coming up.
Come
here,
on.
Baby.
Merry Christmas,
All
Dana.
right, we got to take a short pause here. When we come back, we're going to preview UFC Moscow. Greg Hardy, former NFL football player, will be in the co-main event of this thing, and he's looking to do what no heavyweight has ever done before in the UFC. So I'll tell you what that is when we come back. We'll also preview UFC Moscow, and we will get to a new feature for Canadian MMA fans. There's like a lot of UFC content available for some Canadian MMA fans, which we'll mention as well. It is Ringside Report. Stay with us. Yo, we're still here.
Hello.
Yo,
any comments? What's happening?
Commercial break. Well, Johnny North is there. He says that
he
says Fred's right about the stoppage. I saw that.
Yeah, I said the same thing. The stoppage. Look, if it was in Vegas, it probably would have.
How could Johnny North be like going against me? How dare you, Johnny North? I'm wearing your shirt on the show.
And Johnny loves blood, man. What are you talking about?
And I went to the United States today, and I wore your shirt like all over the states, representing for you, Big Johnny.
Wow,
and
that's awesome.
This is how you treat me.
Oh,
you know,
Johnny,
I brought this shirt specifically on my trip so that I could wear it.
So you're saying if he doesn't agree with you, he's not your friend?
Oh,
well, I'm just saying.
Cool.
I mean, he should be agreeing with.
He's his own person, man.
I know, but like, agree with me because I'm wearing your shirt. Be cool.
Nah.
Hey, listen, Johnny, if you're listening, I'm sorry I didn't call you for Wednesday for the movie night there. Next one, buddy. Next one.
Next Wednesday?
Yeah, we were supposed to. Johnny had some tickets to go see a movie.
Like right now, we're 8 days away. So next Wednesday, we're gonna
not
be
next
really,
Wednesday.
We're gonna be really close.
8 days away, baby.
8 days away.
What happens then, AJ? Are we gonna reveal now?
No, man.
No reveal. Hey, AJ, let me ask you something else. Where's my bagels?
Where's my BMF bagels? I'm going to tell you what. I should have went to Villamart Bagel and get a couple.
You should.
But I don't know how good they are.
A dozen.
Are they good? Have you tried
Fresh poppy seed. Yeah, they're all right.
Villamart Bagel. If you're listening to us, we're giving you free advertising.
We do have to say here, do a little business here while we're on the commercial break. Make it official.
What? That I owe you bagels?
The character that appeared on Saturday's UFC 244 watch-along, the character known as Rollsy Face, has been banned from the Ringside Report Network and YouTube channel. He's banned, all right? I've thrown the ban down. We've never had a ban before. But Rosy Face
You're banned, buddy.
is banned. I've notified him of his ban
Have
as
you?
well.
You should have put on like
He's been banned.
Why don't you get like one of your creative team there to put like a logo or something that says like ban the face? Hey, the face has been
You're
banned.
the one doing all sorts of logos, like do an Instagram thing. The face is banned.
You know what?
Take a picture of the face.
Okay, we're gonna do that. Well, we can get the picture of the face. A lot of times he was off screen, but when he used to come into screen, he was like Rosie as like Santa Claus. This guy was out. Poor Rosie. But I'll tell you one thing.
I never seen anything like that.
Look, you know what?
Unbelievable. I mean,
Johnny Walker went down twice that night.
yeah. I mean, he really. So yeah, he was a drunken man who showed up. I know him. He's a friend of mine. But I had no idea he would be that inebriated, and he got really drunk off that Johnny Walker that Paul brought. We all drank it. Didn't get drunk.
So good. Thanks,
Paul.
Paul.
It was excellent, but
was
we
really
were
nice.
reasonable.
Good job, Paul.
Yeah, well,
I had 2 little shots, like
That's it.
2 normal.
Yeah, we were doing it
shots.
for Johnny Walker.
we
too.
drank responsibly. He did not drink
Was
responsibly.
that guy driving?
No. He got a ride home.
Driving, he couldn't even walk. I'm surprised he made it to the washroom. But
Yeah.
what I was gonna say
But
is,
it is kind of representative of like a UFC audience, right? Like you do see
not
that
heavy. You think?
at a UFC show. You see that guy.
Okay, every UFC event I've been to, there's always like one guy that he's not gonna make it to the main event.
Oh yeah, when he has his shirt off and he's like,
No,
this
he's
and he has,
drinking
like-
too much.
And he's
Like,
a one
asleep.
pack.
yeah, exactly. There's always every UFC event I've been to. There's always this one guy that's drinking all night, and when it comes to be the main event, he's sleeping.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah, and
You
that
know?
would be the Rosy Face.
Good
of
money
the
spent.
show.
Well, Rosie was like a character. Like if you could just get a couple of highlights, maybe in our best highlight reel of the year. Not all of it, because you know what, Rosie. Rosie doesn't work in Montreal, I think, or else he could be bad for poor Rosie.
It was pretty. It was pretty nuts. He
But
was
you know what's
pretty
worse?
nuts.
I asked, like, at one point, I'm like, hey, why don't you give him some, like, hey, you want some Uncle Benny's wine? If he would have had Uncle Benny's wine, that guy there would have been a night of Johnny Walker, Masvidal, Diaz, and 911 right from Dave's house.
Yeah, it would have been bad.
It would have been bad, man.
I don't know why you were offering him more alcohol.
No, I didn't. That was in the beginning. I didn't know that he was going to, like,
Really went
take down
hard.
the barrel.
That Johnny Walker was fancy.
Even Connor would have stopped him from drinking the proper 12 stuff if he had it here. But it was
Even Connor McGregor.
It was nuts. But it was a fun show. It was great. We had some like really good viewership.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
People were watching. People seemed to enjoy the show for the most part.
Except for me and Freddie, like getting like hacked in like the poker game again.
You got hacked? What happened?
Well, I lost some Monopoly money.
You lost some money.
Well, first thing is Montreal traffic is awful. So I got here late. We started the poker game late. I got here late, and AJ was here after me.
yeah.
So I don't know what was up with AJ, but anyways, we started the
Hair,
game late,
makeup, that kind
and
of
I
stuff.
felt I had to be a little aggressive and too aggressive.
Well, you
Anyways.
went aggressive with me at one point when I just like, that's where it all started. When I took all your chips. Remember that? It all started good for AJ in the beginning.
It's
then,
all right.
Then I went down
and how'd it
like
go?
a blaze of glory.
But you know what? I think the victory is Paul did not win.
No, Paul didn't win. I was
Because every
surprised.
time that we've played poker now 4 times. The first time we played, I won, but Paul wasn't here.
Yeah.
Then the
that's
second
true.
time we played, Paul won. He was here. And then we played again, and Paul was here, and he won again. And it was like, uh-oh.
And he was looking good in this game too.
Yeah, he was looking pretty good. And it was like,
Yeah.
uh-oh, maybe we will not ever beat Paul at poker. Maybe he's just going to beat us every time.
Well, but then the Simon brothers were in the finals.
The Simon brothers took out Paul. Well, my brother
Yeah.
took out Paul. And then it was down to me and my brother. And then because it was time for the pay-per-view, we just decided to split the pot. So
I
we
think it
both
was a
made
perfect
money.
night. It was an awesome night. We had
fun.
a good time. It was fun. Too bad Johnny wasn't there. Johnny, I told you, I don't know where you were. You were sleeping or whatnot. It would have been fun. But I think there might have been like, maybe the face would want to wrestle Johnny and things would have got out of hand here. I can see that. Because he wanted to wrestle Dave at one point, and I'm like, it's gonna be a bad night for the face.
There wasn't a lot of people he could have wrestled, I think.
No, there's not
No.
a single person there that he...
Even Zevi would have taken him down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, drunk like he was, probably.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. Zebi's got good takedowns.
I saw that body splash earlier.
Yeah, he's good. He like charges at me and he takes me down. He's good. He's got good moves.
Well, actually, he wrestled with you twice that night. Remember, you had to leave the poker game to go wrestle with your son.
I always have to go wrestle with him. He's like, "Daddy, come wrestle me," and I have to go wrestle him.
No
and
joke.
He takes me down. Does big splashes. He's very much into pro wrestling. I wonder why.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
How about
weird.
MMA? He does know his MMA stuff.
He's not very interested in MMA because it's like not that colorful. Like the characters aren't that fun in MMA. I think wrestling is more of a show, so he sees it and he's like, "Oh, this is cool."
Well, I'll be honest. Like, if I'm watching the UFC with my daughter, I tend to wait until she's in bed to put the UFC. Like, still.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I see it as a sport.
So do I, but the blood.
I wouldn't hide a football game or a baseball game from a kid. A UFC is a sport just like anything else. I understand there's blood, but humans have blood. I don't understand why. I don't know. I like to be able to teach children that fighting only happens in an octagon or in a confined space when it's appropriate. Don't ever fight anywhere else,
In a jiu-jitsu gym.
Yeah, go to a gym and practice martial arts, but don't ever fight other kids because, fighting in the street is never what you want to do. So you
unless
show
you're
them
getting bullied or something, and that's a different story.
just the idea of fighting is only a thing like as a sport. It's never a thing in aggression. Never fight out of aggression. Only like I see fighting as this great thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's an art form, and if you're really good at it, it's impressive. But a lot of people, most of the population sees fighting as this aggressive thing that bad people do, right?
Well, from the beginning of time, it's one of the oldest sports, and there's another profession that's just as old, like
I think street fighting,
hey,
the stuff on World Star Hip Hop, street fighting, that's bad. When you hit somebody in the head and then their
isn't
head
that where Masvidal came
knocks
from?
off concrete.
That's what I was gonna say. The early days of Masvidal.
Well, it's not good.
And Kimbo Slice.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good stuff. You shouldn't be doing that stuff.
Look, you shouldn't be doing that kind of
If
stuff.
you want to train to be a fighter, go to a gym.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Don't fight in a backyard
I mean,
for money. It's not smart.
You miss the Kimbo days? I don't.
No.
I don't.
well, you know what? To some his Florida backyard fights. I
No,
mean, they
it's
were
not good.
interesting.
No, I mean about the discussion. I mean about like Kimbo Slice being almost as big a star as I don't remember who was the stars back then in MMA. Anderson Silva, guys like that, George St. Pierre.
Fedor.
Like everybody knew who Kimbo Slice was as if he was on the same level as
Yeah. There was a time when people thought Kimbo was like.
Yeah, but hold on
he
a sec,
was
guys.
MMA.
Guys, hold on a second, and not to change.
You're gonna
over.
give props again to a guy that worked hard.
Look, I'm gonna give props. I'm gonna give props to the fact that social media could bring a guy who's a nobody and make him a somebody. Such as we look at fights with Logan Paul and that whole thing. And again, we saw millions
He's fighting
of
this
viewers watching him box some other YouTube star. So that's the thing with social media. You have a platform
And you
like
know what?
YouTube, just like us.
Give it to Kimbo.
I give it to Kimbo.
Kimbo, say what you want about Kimbo Slice, but Kimbo wasn't just a YouTube guy. Wasn't
No,
just a
he was
backyard
awesome.
fighter. He was good enough to actually make it to the UFC.
And he was training
These
really
other
hard.
guys, Logan Paul and CSI, they're not going anywhere. They're not fighting real guys.
Yeah, but they're getting.
I don't want to turn this into the Kimbo discussion, but he got to the UFC because of his reputation,
Sure.
not because of his skills.
He
Well,
won
Freddie-
MMA fights, okay? He won MMA
Yeah, he
fights,
did.
okay?
He did.
CSI isn't winning any MMA
Look,
fights.
and there's one thing with Kimbo.
Is that the guy's name?
CSI?
KSI.
Isn't that a show?
KSI?
KSI. I
think.
think that's it.
What's the difference?
I don't know, some pressure thing. But listen to
CSI is
this.
a TV show.
Listen, KFC versus Hogan Paul. I don't care what this
Popeyes.
match is.
No, but look, with Kimbo Slice, he came from that whole scene. But Kimbo Slice also put himself in top jiu-jitsu gyms with American Top Team, and he put himself
All right,
in
let's get
great
back
Muay
to
Thai
the
teams.
show, man.
But no, listen, hear
Enough
me out.
of- enough
At
of-
least Kimbo,
oh, man.
you know,
Enough
rest
of
in
the
peace,
AJ
Kimbo.
Kimbo hour.
He was a fighter.
Whatever.
Kimbo
we love you.
Slice.
We love you, Dada.
Future Hall of
5000.
Famer.
Dada forever.
You
Dada.
know what?
I'm Team Dada all day.
How's Dada doing? Is he
I don't
still
know.
he had a heart attack? The poor guy. Dada.
What is it? 500? 5,000?
Dada 5,000.
Dada 5,000. Dada 5,000.
5,000.
Yeah,
500 is not
5,000.
a-
500. I'm not sure.
500 is his kid. Dave, what the heck happened to you? Did you just have a Kimbo Slice moment there?
How you like them apples?
I like them apples. Oh, talk about apples.
5,000.
You know what I was thinking? Remember Ted Teven? If most people don't know Ted Teven was like a great sports personality.
What? Can
here
we
in
get
Montreal.
back to the show?
No, I want to just say one thing. The face, if the face was around with Ted Teven, he would have got sprayed with chocolate bullets.
He would have been gone.
He would have been gone.
Okay.
You're gone. Do it, Dave. Do it to Ted Teven.
Welcome back. It is Ringside Report. I'm Dave Simon. Fred Garcia's here. AJ DeLesio's here.
Man.
www.ringsidereport.net is the website. And we're here on TSN 690 every Friday night. We're on YouTube every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Watch us live. Go to the YouTube channel. Like the video. Leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. Do all those things for more info. Go to www.ringsidereport.net. All our stuff is there. Everything's there.
We should mention next week it's Wednesday because Dave has something again.
What are
Yeah,
you Celine Dion again?
No. Next week, we're going to be live on YouTube on Wednesday, not Thursday. Because on Thursday, I'm going to see the president of the former president of America. I got free tickets, though,
Are you
bro.
going to see Trump?
Free tickets. No, the former president.
former.
Obama.
Okay.
Obama's coming to the
Obama.
Bell Center. I don't know. I figure,
What was that guy's that rapper that was
I
supposed
figure
to
it'll
come?
be a party. I'm going to treat it like it's a party. I'm going to treat it like I'm going to see Kanye.
You got to get
And I'm
dressed
gonna-
and all that?
I'm going to, party before I go.
What kind of party could happen over there?
Well, no,
Let's be
I don't know.
honest.
I don't think it's going to be
If
that
a
type.
fight breaks out there, then it becomes a party.
I'm saying, I don't think it's going to be that type of party. I think I'm going to be highly inappropriate at the Obama show, and I can't wait to freak out some people.
Are you going to ask some questions?
No, man. It's like at the Bell Center. It's gigantic.
About people dying.
Yeah, right? Hey, how
Did
come
this guy kill
How
himself?
come you droned so many people, Obama? What's the deal with droning? You like droning?
26,000 bombs a year?
Yeah, what's the deal, Obama? Like, I'm not a huge Obama fan.
Obama.
Like, I wouldn't pay to see, but I'm interested in going to see what it's all about.
Did you get those tickets free or what?
I also got tickets to go see Celine
I see,
Dion
you think
the
I was
following
joking
week.
No,
before?
you bought those tickets.
Oh, I bought the Celine tickets. The Celine
Unbelievable.
tickets I bought for me and my girlfriend so we could go see Celine.
What is it, a romantic night?
Yeah, a little date, little Celine, little
Dave's gonna
wine,
get-
you know.
Woo, number 2 coming up. Little Zevi
Hey,
and...
take it easy
Whoa,
over there.
whoa,
Okay,
whoa.
let's get back to the MMA here. Take it easy.
Dave,
Instead of
Sam.
talking about his number 2, you should be talking about other stuff.
I'm gonna drop a number 2 in your face.
Hey, listen. Look, Dave, do the Ted Teven. Come on, man.
You're gone.
Yes, finally. So if anybody doesn't know who Ted Teven is, he was
Everybody
one of the best.
knows.
No, most people your age, Dave, don't know who Ted Teven is. Ted Teven was one of the best sports personalities in Montreal, and Dave used to be his I guess you would call it the apprentice,
Protege.
He was
something
like
that.
my mentor. Yeah,
He's your mentor.
I would say that.
Dave
He was
was-
a
most
mentor.
people-
Dave was the mentee.
He was the
protege.
the
The
mentos.
protege. I was a protege.
Yeah, and most people don't know that. So Dave Simon is like the young version of Ted Teven.
I don't know
Except
about
he
that.
doesn't spray chocolate bullets.
I
which
don't
he
think
should've
so.
done.
I could never be that. He was the greatest.
He was the greatest, but you learn from the greatest. So
Well,
it's
I
like,
learned from him, but I'm nowhere near what he was. That guy was the best ever.
Well,
I'm all right, but I'm no Ted Teven. Put
he
it
was
that
like
way.
Gus D'Amato, and you're like Mike Tyson.
I don't think so. I wouldn't say I'm. No, come on now. Ted was the best. I'm all right, but Ted was the man.
Yeah, but you would be just as good as Ted if
I'm
you
all right.
sprayed people with
I'm
those
all right.
bullets.
You're great, Dave.
Okay,
you're good.
thanks,
He's
guys.
good. He's
Thanks,
good.
guys.
Come on.
He's got more hair.
You
But Ted
guess.
Teven was awesome.
He had a great head of
He
hair.
did
Ted.
have he did.
Ted was a
lot
great
of
guy.
curly hair.
I love Ted. I miss him every
Ted
day.
Teven.
Rest in peace. We miss you, Ted.
You're gone.
All right, you're making me sad now.
What happened? Don't cry, bud.
I
You're gonna go
miss
see
him.
Celine Dion. You're gonna be crying there.
He was a good man. He was a good man. All right, if you are a TSN subscriber on TV, you can go to tsn.ca and you could watch about 200 past UFC events on demand, online.
The last one was awesome. If you
If
want
you
to see the
have
last one,
a like a cable subscription for TSN, you could go to tsn.ca and see about 200 UFC events from the past. So AJ, I know you're always looking for old UFC stuff to watch, and I think you have cable.
yeah, I like watching
Somebody
the old
pays
fights.
for your cable, right?
Somebody does. That's true. It should be
So
Dave
you-
Simon Productions, but we're not there yet.
You can
right,
get
Freddie?
some sort of password, and you could log into your TSN.
I love TSN. TSN. I like to see the old Gracie fights.
Who pays for your cable? Your mom?
What?
No, tell me who pays for your cable. It's not your mom. Who is it? Is it
AJ
you?
AJ told me how
Is it
much.
you?
AJ told me how much he pays for his rent, so he's definitely able to afford cable. I mean, rent in Montreal is a killer.
It is, but Brossard is like super nice, but it's so far. But when you think about it, it's not that far. But
You're saying AJ pays a lot for his rent? Are we
Yes.
talking about AJ's rent? Are we gonna? AJ, you want to reveal how much you're paying in rent on the show?
listen, next year at this time, hopefully I can have.
I'm
like
just
a,
saying, with the number he pays for his rent, cable shouldn't be that much of a problem.
you guys.
Well,
man.
what do you mean? Maybe he's got no more money left over after
Well,
the
maybe
rent.
also.
Yeah,
but
that could be it, too.
AJ's balling, man. I mean,
AJ's
look,
rich.
Look, he's always has a new tracksuit.
He
Toronto
always-
Maple Leafs?
He always does have a new tracksuit.
I like tracksuits. I'm Italian.
I got myself a new tracksuit too,
Did
AJ.
you?
Yeah.
I want the New Japan tracksuit. That's what I want.
Oh, I got one of those.
Do you?
I like
Oh, yeah,
track.
you do.
Yeah,
It's
New
true.
Japan track. I
Yeah.
love tracksuits.
I need to
Tracksuits,
buy
bro.
a tracksuit now.
Like if you're from New York and you're Italian,
You know what we need?
tracksuits are
Official
important.
Ringside Report tracksuits.
Can you get that, Dave?
Yes,
Let's
I'm
get
making
into the
them.
big
Okay, I'm
leagues.
making them. I'm making them. Ringside Report tracksuits coming soon.
Listen, if
Okay,
Leone,
we have to do it.
Listen, if Leone Canada is listening to us because they sponsored some of our stuff not too
Get
long
on
ago,
board now.
make special limited edition Ringside Report tracksuits.
We'll do what Kanye West did for Adidas to Leone. You understand?
Listen, we'll make a commercial outside
You
of the show.
understand what I'm saying? You see what Yeezys are doing for Adidas? We could do that for your apparel company if you join up with us and help me design the beautiful Ringside
Davies.
Report tracksuits.
Davies
Oh!
and Freddy's.
No, Seamsies.
And Freddy's, man. You
My
got
shoes
the
are called-
you
my
got
shoe-
you got the Davies, you got the Freddy's,
Nah,
and then
bro.
you got the AJs.
My shoes are called Seamsies.
Mine
all
are
right?
more like, retro classic. Freddy will be like more like 90s styles. And then Dave will be like, like all this weird new stuff.
futuristic, chunky, chunky.
All these like, wannabe rappers. And kind of
Yeah.
thing.
All right, baby.
Not like the Beastie Boys of the
Let's
days.
get
Hey.
back to the MMA, you crazy AJ.
Oh, yeah, shoot. It's an MMA show.
What?
What?
Oh, it's
Zabit?
a show about us.
Yeah,
Zabit,
yeah.
Zabit Magomed Sharipov. Hey, can you
Oh.
say his
Poster
last
boy.
name?
No, I just call him Zabit the Rabbit.
I call him Poster Boy.
Zabit the Rabbit.
That's all.
That's so good. Trademark that, baby. Zabit the Rabbit. Yo, don't
The
steal
Rabbit
that.
Rabbit.
Don't steal that, Kenny Florian.
Yeah, Kenny, you know what I'm talking about.
We know. All right. Zabit the Rabbit is fighting Calvin Kattar. Hey, guys, who's Calvin Kattar? Oh, he's pretty good. 20-3. Just beat Ricardo Lamas. He's got a pretty solid
He
record
beat
in the UFC.
Andre Phil, Shane Burgos.
Andre Phil.
Andre
Wait,
Fili.
He's not.
Andre Fili.
You made
Filling
him-
me up.
You made him a French-Canadian plumber, but really, he's like a Hawaiian.
Is he Hawaiian?
Andre Feely. It's not Andre Phil. You know?
Andre.
See those plumber? Andre and Fist plumber. You never seen that, you know? That's what you made this guy.
Listen, George used to
Unbelievable.
be a garbage man at one
Okay.
point, so respect.
So
the-
Calvin
the blue-collar
Kattar
guys.
is 4-1 in the UFC. He's won 2 in a row, and that's who he is. But we know Zabit, right? This is a Zabit fight. This is Zabit in Russia. Zabit is Russian, obviously. He's 28 years old. He's tremendous. He's won all his fights in the UFC, 17-1. He's won 13 straight as a pro. Just beat Jeremy Stevens. Zabit is looking like a future title challenger. This is a show built for Zabit. I'm all in on Zabit. This guy is fantastic. He's got all the skills to be a
He
top
has
fighter
everything.
in the world, right? Like, he could be the champion, and I look forward to him getting the next title shot. I really think that, like, we're just waiting around for Zabit to fight, I guess, Max Holloway. But I know Holloway's fighting Volkanovski in December, but I figure once that fight is over, Zabit, pending a victory over Calvin Kattar, would be the next challenger.
I don't have the rankings in front of me, but he's probably in the top 10, even top 5 already, I would think, in the UFC. There's a lot of hype behind Zabit, so a big win here. He puts his name definitely into the discussion for fighting the winner of Holloway and Volkanovski. I'm a fan of Zabit. He's an excellent fighter. People should want to watch him.
No, he has high-level skills. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't matter if he's standing up, he's on the ground, like controlling the fight. He's not a brawler. He's very technical. The guy is highly, highly skilled. He really is. what Dana White thinks is the future of that division.
He's
I mean,
ranked 5th right now in the UFC's
Yeah,
rankings. Fred was wondering about the rankings.
He's up there.
Behind Frankie Edgar, Jose Aldo, Brian Ortega, and Volkanovski.
And look, Holloway.
Volkanovski's next in line, right? He's fighting in December against Holloway.
And Holloway defeated Ortega, Aldo already, so like he's definitely in the discussion.
Look,
a big win here for Zabit.
And he's fighting some good fighters up ahead, and they're going to be exciting fights. I mean, Qatar he's never fought a guy as well-rounded as Zabit, but you know what? This is his fight to win, and I'm sure he's going to win it in style.
Zabit minus 280, the favorite. Qatar plus 240, the underdog. This one going down in Russia, so
what time here?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure
Probably
that
early.
one out.
I'm down for those.
I'll tell you in a second here. It's going down in
It's,
Moscow
2 p.m., 2 p.m.,
Saturday.
Dave.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, 2
the
p.m.
main card.
Yeah, the main card is at 2 p.m.
So it's scheduled for ESPN Plus, 2 p.m. Eastern start time, Saturday afternoon. I guess it'll probably be UFC Fight Pass for us here in Canada if it's ESPN Plus in the States, if we want to watch this thing. Co-main event, we've got Greg Hardy versus Alexander Volkov. And as much as Zabit and Calvin Guitar is the main event, this Hardy-Volkov fight is pretty interesting.
Stay away from the light, Dave.
What?
Look, Greg Hardy, look, you got to give this guy credit. You know, and I know, Dave, you won't do that. Probably Freddie won't either. But we got to give Hardy some credit. Here he is, fighting again, even though things didn't go his way, which he technically won that fight and they took it away. But he's fighting.
This will be his 5th fight in 2019. No heavyweight in the history of the UFC has ever fought 5 times in a year.
There you go. So kudos to him.
You got to give it to Greg Hardy. Like, he's won all his fights.
I'm surprised you're saying that.
Wow, both of you are giving it to Greg Hardy?
I don't know. At this point, you almost have to give him credit for coming in, taking this fight on short notice.
Well, I'll give him credit
He
to
replaced, who didn't he replace? Like Junior Dos Santos?
Junior Dos Santos
Like,
fight.
when you step in to fight the guy that Junior Dos Santos was supposed to fight, and you're taking it on 2 weeks' notice, that's a huge step up in competition. And you're doing it in the guy's backyard in Moscow. Volkov is Russian. Like, this is a big, brave move from Greg Hardy. Fighting 5 times in 2019, very impressive for a heavyweight. He's been very impressive in there. He's athletic. He seems to be improving. He's a heavy hitter. He's super dangerous. Unfortunately, he seems like a terrible person, and you can't root for him. You always root against him. You want him to lose. You want Volkov to knock him unconscious so that Greg Hardy will go away. But you can't help but kind of respect the guy for what he's done as far as his UFC career. It's been pretty impressive, except for, using an inhaler during his last fight and having his win overturned into a no contest because he cheated between rounds 2 and 3 using an inhaler because he was so gassed out.
Dave,
he's going to gas out and lose this fight, right?
Like, to say it's cheating, I mean, it's never happened before. I can't even think.
Well, they said
anyone
it was
else
cheating.
who's ever done
Everybody
that
said it
before.
was cheating.
Well, he did ask the corner commission guy, and
it was ruled a no contest after the fight because he cheated. He cheated, guys. It's okay.
I would call out the incompetence of the commission.
Yeah.
More than anything, but
and
why
Hardy's
is he?
Corner
Why is he bringing it to the?
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the only thing I'll give him credit is for finally fighting somebody that's worth watching. So, he's fighting a top 10 guy finally in the UFC. And I'll give him credit for showing up on 2-3 weeks notice. That's it. Other than that, I'll watch because I've watched all of his fights. And I'm pulling for Volkov. I hope Volkov wins. Go Volkov. I'm still not convinced that Greg Hardy's a legit top 10 guy in the UFC. If he beats Volkov, maybe I'll have to start believing in that.
Look, he's not the bigger fighter here, which is kind of surprising because Hardy is usually the bigger fighter in the last fights. He's going up against the Russian at 6'7". I mean, he's a lanky fighter. He looks pretty good. He's 265 pounds, and there's not any fat off this man. The thing is that Hardy, look, the only thing that I can see is that Hardy tends to gas out a bit. We haven't seen, he has heavy punching
see,
power, but he
think
didn't do much against Sosoli and knockout and whatever.
I think his striking, he leaves himself open a lot because
He does.
see, when he was fighting Sosoli, he got hit a little bit, like still.
Oh, yeah.
And it was against a guy that's nowhere near the talent of Volkov. So that's why, to me, it's going to be interesting to see him fighting finally a top guy, you know?
I feel like he's going to knock Volkov out. Volkov's coming off a knockout loss to Derek Lewis, hasn't fought in over a year.
Yep.
Greg Hardy's super dangerous. He's been very active. I don't know. I think that Greg Hardy's going to come in here and surprise a lot of people and legitimize himself. I don't like it, but I think it's what is going to happen. Greg Hardy, for the first time in his UFC career, coming in as an underdog. He's been a heavy favorite in every other fight. Plus 235. The favorite here is Greg Hardy, minus 275. Volkov. I hate to say it, but I think there's value if you want to bet on Greg Hardy, right?
You know what? There's no pressure for Hardy to come into this fight. You know, look, there's no pressure. And you know
I don't
what? Even
like
if,
Greg Hardy.
Look, even if he loses,
Well, if he
it's not the
loses,
end of
what,
his
he
career.
goes back to fighting chumps?
No, he'll go back to fighting. I mean, you're not going to get Hardy out of the UFC.
Out of the UFC.
No, he's not going to get out of the UFC.
He won't be out of the UFC,
No.
but he'll be back to fighting guys that
Look,
I don't care for.
Off the main card, at least, right?
Absolutely. But I for some crazy reason, I have a feeling this is going to be a surprise fight. Hardy's had many fights in this year, like you said, Dave.
Volkov, TKO.
I think it's going to be the opposite. I think he's going to get under Volkov because he's finally underneath where he could probably get that big punch.
Hardy
And I
leaves
think
himself
Volkov,
open a lot.
He does. But the thing is that he's a smaller fighter here. I think when he throws those overhand rights, he's actually going to clip Volkov on this. I think it's going to be a win, surprising win for Hardy on this one.
I do, too. I think Hardy's going to win.
It's one of those miso jeux where you go with the underdog on this.
Fred doesn't agree, but yeah, I think Hardy's going to win, unfortunately. I don't want him to win. I'd be happy if Fred was right?
But as an underdog fight and you win, you know, you put some money down on him, it's going to be a good night.
I don't know. I think it's like dirty money betting on Greg Hardy. I don't want to bet on him to succeed. I'd prefer betting on him to fail, even though it's, you know, not what I think is going to happen and it's less money.
Look, I mean, he's saying yes to fights that most guys wouldn't have fought. And I mean, he's not going up against anybody. He just fought. And look, he lost because of the commissioner, but he really won that fight against Sosoli. So, you know what? Kudos to Hardy. In this
He says yes to fights that most guys would say no. I had a bad joke about his domestic abuse going on that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Anyways,
against women.
let's
Yeah,
just
most
move-
guys would
let's-
say no to that.
Let's just
he
move
says
on from
yes.
Greg Hardy.
Gross, Greg Hardy. Ugh. The rest of this card, what do you guys think? Anything? Ed Herman's on this card. Whoa.
When's the last time he fought?
Ed Herman fought.
He fought this year.
He fought in May. But, like, how? He's 39. He's been fighting forever. Just when I see Ed Herman on the card, I'm like, what?
Wasn't he on UFC 83, the first one in Montreal? I'm just trying to figure.
Probably.
Yep. You see? Against Maya. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Choked out by Damian Maia.
a few Dagestanis on the card. It's all Russian card. I mean,
He fought David Loiseau here at UFC 97. That was, I remember that
David
one.
Loiseau, the Crow.
Yeah, I mean, Ed Herman is an old school MMA fighter. He's been around. He's coming off a win. He's fighting some guy, Kadis Ibragimov. I don't know him. He's a Russian dude. A lot of Russian dudes on this card.
Wikipedia
I wonder
doesn't
why.
know him either.
Because they're in Moscow. That's why. Rustam Khabilov is fighting on this one. Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov is fighting. You think he's related to Khabib?
Is he?
Yeah.
I think he is a cousin of Khabib.
I think he's...
We saw him like way back when he came out in his first fight, and they announced that it was the cousin of Khabib.
Is he Khabib's cousin? I don't know. Yeah, I think he's his cousin. Whatever. He's a Nurmagomedov. He's fighting on this thing. He's related to Khabib in some way, right? Khabib seems to have a lot of relatives and teammates in the UFC now, right? And I'm sure a lot of them will be at this. Is Khabib going to be at this show? It's in Moscow,
Well,
probably,
for sure.
right?
I'm sure he's going to be there to support.
You say for sure to a lot of things you're not sure about,
you know what?
though.
It's Khabib, man. He supports his brothers. I'm almost positive he's going to be there. Listen, if Conor is there, Khabib is going to be there.
I don't think Conor's going to be there.
Well, he was supposed to be there, but then after that, fiasco, I mean, you know what? You never know with Conor. Are you sure he's gone? He left Moscow officially?
Yeah.
Because he did his press conference. I know he was there
That
training.
was like last week.
I know, but he was
He's
supposed to
gone.
stay there. He was supposed to do a big thing, but
As far as I know, he's not there
it's
anymore.
probably a good idea.
You know Bellator's doing a show this weekend? King Mo is fighting.
Yep.
Oh,
King
yeah,
Mo.
that's true.
It's a Friday night show. King Mo against Andrew Capel. And then John Salter against Costello Van Steenis.
King Mo said, win or lose, there's chances this is his last fight. So
Yeah, well, I thought he already retired. This is like a come out of retirement fight for King Mo. He's 38.
Kind of like Tito Ortiz there.
extra paycheck fight.
He hasn't won a fight in a little while, I think, right? He had some trouble. Lost 3 in a row in Bellator. Last fight that he won was against Rampage in 2017.
I forgot
that
that.
Hey,
long ago.
Rampage is fighting Fedor in like a month and a half. I'm
That'll
pretty
be
excited
good.
about that for
I'm
Bellator.
excited about that.
That's going to be good. And we'll continue to preview all that stuff. Next week on the show, we will preview UFC Sao Paulo, Brazil, Jacare taking on Jan Blachowicz.
Come on, Jacare, you got to do it.
Pretty good. That is a pretty nice main event for UFC Sao Paulo. Shogun Rua is fighting Paul Craig on that card as well. Serginho, Worley Alves, a cool Brazilian card next week for us to preview for you. And until then, check out Dave and Johnny live every Friday afternoon. Check out Wrestling Uncensored and everything else available on the YouTube channel. Don't forget, AEW Full Gear this Saturday. We will be doing a watch-along post-show for the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view. Chris Jericho, Le Champion, will be celebrating with a little bit of the bubbly after defeating Cody Rhodes for the AEW Championship coming up this Saturday. AEW Full Gear. Check out the YouTube channel for more on that. YouTube.com/ringsidereport.net. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. www.ringsidereport.net is our website. Go there, download the show, watch the show, follow AJ, do all the things. Follow AJ at Danny Bruck on Twitter and Instagram. Get Freddie at Freddie MMA, and you can follow me at Dave Simon MMA.
Dave, you know what I'm surprised about? This whole show went by, and you didn't mention The Rock.
The Rock. What about him?
Well, the big thing about the whole BMF thing and The Rock.
He was there.
He was there, and like
We talked about him last week. We said he was
Yeah.
going to be there.
It's The Rock, man.
All that happened with The Rock was he was there. He was there. That's it.
And he's there
And-
to.
I got some new Rock tights for jiu-jitsu, some Under Armour,
What?
like, you know, The Rock, he has like Under Armour stuff. You know, like tights for jiu-jitsu?
You okay?
Yeah, I got some. They're like The Rock branded. They're pretty sweet. Well, you don't like The Rock?
I love The Rock. I didn't
what's
know he
your
had
problem?
tights.
And,
like, for
and I'll tell you
jiu-jitsu.
what.
Yeah.
You were talking about Masvidal. I think The Rock's a Masvidal fan. Both guys from Miami.
Yeah?
Masvidal, big star.
Yeah, well, Stone Cold's a Nate Diaz fan. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hell yeah! All right. For Fred and AJ, I'm Dave, and this has been Ringside
Report.
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 Hell yeah!